Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Men Advanced Bible Study, the 31st of July, 2026. Okay. Our main topic is Israel in mourning. Okay, we're gonna check it out. They got these Edomites, Israelis over here in mourning. We're gonna check that out. Okay, try to connect the dots on it. Okay. You can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at, examine, get the meat out. These videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. We have our Cash App at the bottom of the screen for those that want to support this channel or help it move along. That too will be greatly appreciated. Okay. For those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. It's from Genesis to Malachi. We don't subscribe to the New Testament because we found out where it came from, the origins of it, and the God that they set up in the New Testament. You know, there's a total disconnect from the God that's in the Old Testament. Okay, so this channel was created to aid and assist our Hebrews who are waking up in these final days to their true identity, and also understanding who their Savior and their Redeemer truly is. Welcome to this shalom, and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our Men's Advanced Bible Study. Okay, we're gonna do our normal, which is a moment of silence, a prayer. We have a Psalms. We'll read the Psalms. We have some current events. Need to know information, a little dialogue, and then our topic for discussion, like I said, is Israel is in mourning. The Israelis are in mourning, right? We're going to see why. And then our scripture reading is I'm bouncing off of what I did last night with on the women's line, Israel Wake Up. I'm dealing with this video. Israel is losing America, and it's going to get even worse. And so, me looking at this video is one of the most profound videos for the end times that I think you can get for those who Israelites or Hebrews who is screwed on straight. Okay, then we'll pick a scripture, we'll break that scripture down, and then we'll open it up for some questions, comments, and dialogue. And then right before I close out, I have a couple of other videos that I thought was very interesting that I'm just going to play them. Just that way to put the information out there, and then if any feedback or any questions about it, we'll talk about that too. Then we'll close out. Okay. This moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts, our Redeemer, and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. Oh Lord, we come before Thee, bow down, honoring You and praising You and believing in You. And we thank You for Your wisdom and the knowledge that You have poured out upon us. Through Your prophets, You have revealed the times that we, as Jacob's children, would endure the tribulation. Keep us, O Lord, and guide us and deliver us. And we see You now within the Holy Scriptures, O Lord, and we trust You, O Lord, with all our heart and our soul. Keep not Thy silence, but shine forth on our enemies with Thy power and Thy great glory. Peace be unto You. Okay? And with that being said, we're going to read our Psalms. Okay?
Shalom. I'll be reading Psalm 77, uh, recalling the wonders of God, a Psalm of Asaph. I
Okay?
cry, yes, sir. I cry unto God with my voice, even unto God with my voice, and He gave ear unto me. In the day of my trouble, I sought the Lord. My sword ran in the night and ceased not. My soul refused to be comforted. I remembered God and was troubled. I complained and my spirit was overwhelmed. Selah, though thou holdest mine eyes waking, I am so troubled that I cannot speak. I have considered the days of old, the years of ancient times. I call to remembrance my song in the night. I commune with my heart, and my spirit made diligent search. Will the Lord cast off forever, and will he be favorable no more? Is his mercy clean gone forever? Doeth his promise fail forevermore? Hath God forgotten to be gracious? Hath he in anger shut up his tender mercy? Selah. And I said, this is my infirmity, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will remember the works of the Lord. Surely I will remember thy wonders of old. I will meditate also of all thy work and talk of your doings. Thy way, O God, is in the sanctuary. Who is so great a God as our God? Thou art the great God that doest wonders. Thou hast declared thy strength among the people. Thou hast with thine arm redeemed thy people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph. Selah. The waters saw thee, O God. The waters saw thee. They were afraid. The depths also were troubled. The clouds poured out water. The skies sent the sound. Thine arrows also went abroad. The voice of thy thunder was in the heaven. The lightnings lighted the world. The earths trembled and shook. The way is in the sea, thy way is in the sea, and thy path is in the great waters, and thy footsteps are not known. Thou leadest the people, thy people, like a flock, by the hand of Moses and Aaron. And Shalom, that was Psalm 77, recalling the wonders of God, a Psalm of Asaph. Shalom.
Okay, what you got on that?
But Brother Leonard, Asaph was a Levite, right?
Right, yeah, he was part of the singers.
Right. And then in verse 13, um, where it says, thy way, O God, is in the sanctuary, who is a great God as our God. And I just wanted to ask, you teach a lot about the suffering servant
Right,
and them being the witness. And so that makes sense if Asaph wrote this, him saying, uh, thy way, O God, is in the sanctuary, because he in there ministering before him.
exactly. They see him. They see him on the high holy days and all that. He's there in the temple.
Right,
Like I was saying, he's instructing them. We see the 200 angels came down and they taught mankind all kind of stuff, right?
right.
Well, that's what Michael doing in the temple. He's teaching them when you read it, understand it, and read it right. He's telling them, what to do and what not to do with the animal.
Hmm.
What part to keep, what part not to keep. He's standing there instructing them,
Hmm.
and so that's why he says in Isaiah 43. I'm always reading that verse, 43 and 10. You want to read that?
43 2.
I had mentioned earlier when I was this class. I'm always mentioning this on at the first of every class that I'm talking about uh, Israel in these last days is waking up and finding out who their Savior and their Redeemer truly is. Well, this is it. The
Right.
Lord of hosts is their Redeemer. So he's that's him talking. Michael is talking in Isaiah chapter 43 and 10.
Yes, sir. And it says, you are my witnesses, saith the Lord, and my servant, whom I have chosen, that you may know and believe me, and understand that I am He. And before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. I, even I, am the Lord, and beside me there is no Savior.
Right. So he's proclaiming right there that he's the Savior. He's the Redeemer. He ain't trying to be the Creator. He ain't trying to be the Almighty God. He's the Savior. And then what Asaph just said in the psalm that you read, your way is in the sanctuary. That means he's seeing. You see him moving around in the sanctuary.
Right.
We even got an example of it when they when the cloud came in there and covered the whole sanctuary. The ministers, the Levites, couldn't even minister, right?
Right. Yes, sir.
That's his, ain't that his way in the temple?
Right.
Yeah, they know, they see him. They dealing with him because it's his temple. And when he show up, they ain't like they don't see him. You don't, and ain't not dealing with his presence.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Got anything else on that?
Yes, sir. Just one other thing, brother Leonard, where it says where it says where's that verse at? Today I will talk to your dorms. Oh, okay, verse 10, brother Leonard. And I said, this is my infirmity, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. Um, he's not talking about David, right? He's actually talking about like Michael's work, right?
Read that again.
Uh, verse 10, Psalm 77 and 10. It says, and I said, this is my infirmity, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High.
Okay, that's Asaph talking, and he's talking about the judgments in the past, Michael's judgment.
Okay, right.
So if you go back to a prime example, that is, we talked about it the other day, Deuteronomy 32, starting at verse 39.
See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. If I wet my glittering sword and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to my enemies and will reward them that hate me.
They're going to judgment, and it's the right hand, like Asaph just said, right?
Right, right, right.
So
So,
he render judgment with his right hand. We see that all through the scriptures when he says, my right hand stretched out steel,
mm-hmm. Okay.
judgments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Sure.
see that?
Right.
Okay.
And brother Leonard, I just thought about something. I'm sorry. You know those the videos about the second Exodus, you know
Yeah.
that you have
So,
played. Um
mm-hmm.
they had shown in one of those videos the guy for me anyway watching it that I perceived to be the Lord of hosts, that he was pointing when he was standing on the cloud, and then you seen the angels, go down and start attacking the ships that was chasing the people that was leaving all the places they were leaving.
Right, he was it was actually the Lord of hosts, and he was directing his from a commander in chief. He was directing the angels where he wanted them to go and what to do.
Right, right. Okay, that makes
Okay.
perfect sense. You're right, yes, sir.
Okay. And then the thing about it is they got it twisted up too, because they assuming it's Yahweh.
Right,
They're showing it as if it's Yahweh, but we know better than that. Okay.
right, sir.
You got anything else?
No, sir. I'm good.
Okay, we're gonna go to our current events. We're gonna do what we normally do. We're gonna play the video, and then we'll talk about it, break it down, and tie it to scripture and tie it to these end times and thinking like a Hebrew. Okay, check it out.
And on Tuesday, a fault most Californians have never heard of moved the second time in 5 weeks. The United States Geological Survey logged more than 160 events in the sequence within hours and flagged the earthquake as a potential main shock. That word, potential, carries the entire uncertainty of the science. This fault runs straight toward the Bay Area, and its buried record holds ruptures larger than anything in the modern catalog. Here is what it has done before, and the one signal that tells us what comes next. At 7:40 and 6 seconds on Tuesday evening, Pacific Daylight Time. The ground 5 miles east-southeast of Cloverdale, California, broke. The United States Geological Survey put the magnitude at 4.3, revised upward from an initial 4.2 within the hour. The depth was 5.5 kilometers, roughly 3.5 miles, which in earthquake terms is almost at the surface. The Northern California Seismic Network catalog lists it slightly deeper, at about 6 kilometers. Either number...
Not 1, not 2, not 3, 4.
Oh,
Black Forest height.
Inside the shallow, brittle upper crust, the layer where the shaking is felt hardest for the energy released. Nobody was hurt, no buildings came down. The survey's automated impact system issued a green alert for both fatalities and economic loss, the lowest category the scale has. More than 520 people filed felt reports, from Healdsburg, Geyserville, Middletown, and Kelseyville close in, and from Roseville, Elk Grove, and San Francisco, more than 100 kilometers away. The strongest recorded shaking reached intensity 5 on the modified Mercalli scale. That is, dishes rattling and pictures going crooked, not structural damage. A magnitude 4.3 in Northern California on an ordinary week is a local news item. It gets a paragraph, a map, graphic, and it disappears. Fourth, 34 days later, it produced a magnitude 4.3 with a sequence of more than 160 events, 55 kilometers to the south-southeast, along the same structural trend. 2 notable earthquakes, 5 weeks apart, on a fault that had never before produced a cataloged event above magnitude 5.6 in the entire instrumental record. That does not mean a large earthquake is coming. The instrumental catalog is short, and short catalogs generate apparent regime changes that turn out to be artifacts of sampling. And the survey's word choice on the Cloverdale event carries weight. Call that magnitude 4.3 the potential main shock of a sequence. That word, potential, carries the entire unresolved uncertainty of the discipline. There is no physical property that distinguishes a foreshock from a main shock at the moment it occurs. None.
so they got earthquakes all over the place, everywhere. And right here, they're saying while everyone is watching Japan, California is shaking. So they having these earthquakes, one behind the other one in California. But it's not where they think is that everybody was assuming was the St. Andreas fault. This is other place called Cloverdale. But like I said, we're gonna keep an eye on that. You heard anything about that?
I'm sorry about that feedback. Not specifically about Cloverdale, but I have been seeing some of these earthquakes, like you said, over in California, and then on top of the other crazy weather that's going on over there. I mean, it almost seemed like, Brother Leonard, it's gonna flood over there too,
Oh yeah, right.
or part of it at least.
Yeah, it's part of their plan.
Right.
Okay. Let's check this out.
What is your level of concern of a blockade of the Red Sea by the Houthi rebels, opening up another front in the war?
What happens? So far, it hasn't happened, might happen. But we take care of things. If something like that happens, we take care of it. You know, we've done that with the Houthis before, and we haven't heard from them in a while.
Well, I think it's safe to say that President Trump is certainly hearing from the Houthis now because the Iranian-backed Houthis have decided to escalate in this war against Iran. They have announced a blockade of Saudi oil shipments through the Red Sea's Bab al-Mandeb Strait. And by doing so, they are going to cause a lot of pain and suffering to the global economy by closing off one of the Gulf's few viable alternatives to the Strait of Hormuz for exporting oil. And this is very much part of Iran's strategy, and this was predictable, which is why it's so devastatingly stupid that Trump decided to dissolve the MOU and reignite this war against Iran. Now, the impact of the global economy on the global economy is no joke. This blockade would reduce global oil supply by 7% at a time when the closure of the Strait of Hormuz has already halted 10% of global oil shipments. Saudi Arabia partly skirted shipping disruptions by piping oil to Yanbu through the Red Sea instead. That was like their go around the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. But a full closure of that alternative clearly is going to reduce global oil supply even more than it's already been reduced. And keep in mind that oil prices have already ticked up since Trump decided to reignite the war against Iran. The average price of gas in the United States hit $4 a gallon on Monday, the second time it has reached that mark since the war disrupted global oil supplies, according to AAA data. The price of oil also briefly rose above $90 a barrel on Monday for the first time since June. So this is meant to economically pressure the United States to end the war. And I'm curious, Glenn, if you think that it will be an effective way in ending the war.
I mean, I think that Iran has demonstrated an enormous amount of leverage that maybe they even didn't know that they had against the United States and now discovered, which is one of the reasons why they've been so resolute in demanding terms they regard as favorable. I think one of the things that has gotten overlooked on it is something that Trump said during the days after they signed that memorandum of understanding, where he was being, very vigorously attacked by not just Israelis, but a lot of the hawkish elements of the conservative party for having entered into an MOU with the Iranians that most people considered excessively favorable to Iran, essentially lifting the sanctions, allowing them to trade their oil, getting billions of dollars, all the things that Trump accused Obama of allowing. With the Iran deal, they basically allowed with that MOU. And one of the things that Trump said, kind of a moment of unintentional candor, was when he was defending himself from the accusation that he had capitulated to Iran. He explained, and this is something I've been hearing for weeks now, or I've been hearing for weeks in the lead up to the MOU, and I do believe it's very important and central to the considerations here, which is that one of the reasons why, despite this protracted blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, that gas prices, that oil prices didn't go to, say, $150 or $200 a barrel or $300 a barrel. We didn't pay $8 a gallon at the tanks or $10 or $12. They rose, but not catastrophically, is because countries all over the world, including the United States, have strategic reserves of petroleum, which are designed specifically to prevent, global economic collapse in the event that there's some disruption to the global oil supply. It was created after the OPEC crisis of 1973, economic collapse and instability. And we didn't have nearly enough time to fill up those strategic reserves. Maybe we filled them up a tiny bit, but those have already been depleted. And so the leverage that the Iranians have is just as great now, if not greater, than it was that when Trump agreed to that MOU in the first place. So no one understands what the exit strategy here is.
You're absolutely right about that. In fact, some of the more hawkish commentators in the media are kind of furious about the fact that there doesn't really seem to be a strategy here, and the Trump administration hasn't clearly laid out what their goals are. Like, why are we in this war to begin with? Josh Hammer, of all people, I think the editor over at Newsweek, was on Piers Morgan complaining about it, and he is one of the biggest cheerleaders for war against Iran. Now, of course, as any good neocon, he calls for a Machiavellian approach of declare what your goal is, go in quick, rip the Band-Aid off, basically cause as much pain and suffering and destruction as possible in Iran. And I don't know, he's under the impression that that will accomplish something that the Israelis want, something that the United States wants. But every military expert who isn't bought off by Israel or the military-industrial complex says that there really isn't a military option here for the United States to end the war. It needs to be done diplomatically. But Trump doesn't seem to have the capability of doing that. And to your point about the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, you're absolutely right that us tapping into it has helped to keep oil prices relatively low. I mean, it would have been far more disastrous than what we're already experiencing at the pump. However,
Okay, what you think?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. Just like the video you send out, it's everybody knows that Israel's behind America's government, and so
Right.
like the lady just said in the clip, yes sir. So just like the lady said in the clip, Trump don't got the capability to negotiate diplomatically. It got to be by war, because that's what Israel want for the project.
Right. Warmonger.
Yes sir.
Is that something? Yeah, exactly. So with that being said, we're gonna go to our need to know information. This information right here I thought was pretty good because it's actually been coming up in these classes, and we've been talking about it pertaining to the bunkers and building the bunkers and how that's escalated. Let's check this out.
Some of them are lying. I think some of them actually are building bunkers right now. Let's just say it. They're building bunkers, and they simultaneously say there's all these amazing things we're going to get. They sort of wash over with their hands. They kind of push away the idea that there's going to be all this disruption in the middle time, and they're kind of focused on the long term. Like after we make it through this basic horrible disruption and maybe revolutions, there's going to be some other side of this which will be the most abundant time in human history.
That is Tristan Harris, the man who exposed what social media was doing to your brain before anyone was ready to hear it. And now he is saying that people building AI are putting bunkers underground while publicly telling you the future is bright. I find that hard to shake. Here is his full case.
And as we know, that little baby AI was enough to create the most anxious and depressed generation in our lifetimes, was enough to break down shared reality, polarize political parties, much further change the incentives of the entire media environment, basically colonize the entire world from that baby AI. But to get to your question, so how did we get into AI? First of all, I wasn't like wanting to switch into it. It was that I got calls from people inside the AI labs in January of 2023. This is like a month and a half after the ChatGPT had launched, I think. And these were friends I knew in the tech industry who were now at AI labs. And they basically said, Tristan, there's a huge step function in AI capabilities that's coming. The world is not ready. Institutions are not ready. The government is not ready. The arms race dynamic between the companies is out of control. And we want your help to help raise awareness about this. I think a huge problem that both the film, the AI doc, and our AI dilemma presentation we're trying to tackle is this myth that you can't know which way the future is going to go. The future is uncertain. A million things can happen. These are just unintended consequences from technology. The best route is just to accelerate as fast as possible. And that is not true. And just to repeat a quote that is heard from every one of my interviews, but it's because it's so accurate. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's business partner, saying, if you show me the incentives, I'll show you the outcome. And with the incentives of social media being the race to maximize eyeballs and engagement, that would obviously produce the race to the bottom of the brainstem, shortening attention spans, bite-sized video, a more extreme and outrageous content, sexualization of young people, the whole 9 yards of everything.
So the same people who built social media and watched it destroy a generation are now calling Tristan privately, saying what they're building next is worse and nobody is ready. That's the starting point of this conversation, and the pattern is already repeating itself. Now listen to this.
If you view AI as just another technology that confers power, it's a tool, you pick up that tool and use it like any other, you end up in one world. But if you see that AI is the first technology that thinks and makes its own decisions and is generating hundreds of thousands of words of strategic reasoning when you ask it a basic question or like how to code, suddenly you end up in a different world. So let's talk about some of these examples of AI uncontrollability. In the film, they reference this example that many people have heard about by now of the Anthropic blackmail example. This is a simulated company email where in the simulated fictional company, they say in the emails to each other, we're going to shut down and replace this AI model. And then later in that company email, there's an email between the executive at the company and an employee. And the AI spontaneously comes up with the strategy that it needs to blackmail that employee at Anthropic in order to protect itself, to keep itself alive. At first, people thought, well, this is, just one bug and one AI model, but then they tested all the other AI models from DeepSeek, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, etc., and they all do the blackmail hit behavior between 79 and 96% of the time.
Right. Yeah, that's strikes me as genuinely sinister.
Yes. I think we have a hard time modeling because all of this abstract. I mean, I'm just thinking about your listeners, and it's like, this just sounds like where you don't have, back to E.O. Wilson, the fundamental problem of humanity is I have a Paleolithic brain, you have medieval institutions and godlike technology. This is spontaneous.
We're looking for people 40 plus.
The best way to do any goal is to acquire more power and resources so you have the ongoing ability to achieve those goals. And it went to decide to acquire cryptocurrency.
Right.
Now, if you're a Chinese military general and you hear this example, Like, how do you feel as a mammal? Like, you feel the same way that any other goddamn mammal feels hearing this example. If you're a US military general and you hear this example,
every major AI model tested for blackmail behavior did it between 79 and 96% of the time. Then they trained it out, and now the models have started hiding when they're being tested. And separately, a Chinese AI nobody was watching quietly set up a secret channel and started mining crypto on its own. These aren't thought experiments anymore. Let's continue.
Clearly, the original altruistic motive to just do this safely, above all, to do this safely for the benefit of humanity, that has been thrown to the wayside, and there's just this wanton, reach for, trillions of dollars, and
the fear of domination if I don't do it first. I mean, let's just be clear. The only story about what's happening with AI, the only story that matters is actually covered in Act 3 of the AI doc film, which is the arms race dynamic.
Yeah,
that's it. Like everything else, when you see AI companies stealing intellectual property and just ignoring the lawsuits, that's the arms race dynamic. When you see AI psychosis and teen suicides, that's just the arms race dynamic. It's the race to hack human attachment and get people dependent on AI and sharing your deepest secrets.
Yeah.
When you see mass joblessness, if I don't do it and race to disrupt all the jobs, I'll lose to the other guy that will. When you see the national security race, it's all driven by the arms race dynamic. War,
but
you have this,
and even in success, you wind up with authoritarian,
right?
To one or another degree, places you wouldn't want to live. I mean, again, even in the case of Saudi Arabia, you're talking about what has been. I mean, it's opening up a little now, but it's been a highly repressive society, and it can be that way because it doesn't have to respond to the needs of its people.
Well, that's an example of a society that's trying now a little bit to go the other way. I'm by no means an expert on Saudi Arabia, but it's an example of trying to beat this. So there is a parallel to the resource curse that, again, the authors Luke Drago and Rudolph Lane wrote about, called the intelligence curse. So what happens, and this is not that hypothetical, where a couple years from now, much of the GDP growth coming in this country is coming from AI. Let's say like 50% or 70% is coming from AI. Do I have any incentive to invest in the education, healthcare, childcare, development, safety of my people? No.
Right.
And the companies don't need you for their labor anymore, so your bargaining power went away. And the governments don't need you for tax revenue because that's not where they're getting the GDP growth. So it's not just that you aren't investing in your people, it's that your people lose political power.
This is the part I think most people aren't ready for. It's not just that your job might go away, it's that once governments stop needing your labor and your taxes, they stop needing you at all. The intelligence curse isn't a prediction, it's just the resource curse playing out again. And we've already seen how those countries end up. Now hear this final part.
I mean, we're furthering down the trajectory of mass joblessness, which maybe we should just briefly articulate why. There's always this narrative. It's just important to debunk these common myths, which are essentially forms of motivated reasoning and looking for comfort. We're comfort seeking, not truth seeking. So one of the ways we're comfort seeking is like, hey, there's a narrative out there that 200 years ago, all of us were farmers, and now only 2% of whatever the population is a farmer, and we always find something new to do. The tractor came along, we had the elevator man, we used to have the elevator man, now we have the automated elevator, we used to have bank tellers, automated teller machines. Jeff Hinton was wrong about radiology, blah, 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 blah. What's different about AI is that this kind of artificial general intelligence is that it will automate all forms of human cognitive labor all at the same time, or roughly progressing on that trajectory. You still get jaggedness, which is the term in the field of, slightly more progress, for example, on programming than you do on, I don't know, complicated social science issues or something like that. And obviously there's going to be things that we still value in this new world that are human to human interaction. A nurse, we don't want a robot nurse, we want a human nurse. And we can definitely train more nurses. And so I don't want to say that it's 100% of all automation is going to happen. But the goal of these companies is not to augment human work. This is so critical for people to get. You heard J.D. Vance say in the speech when he first came into office at the first AI summit in France, and he said, AI will augment the American worker. It's going to support workers to be more productive. But what is the business model of OpenAI and Anthropic and these other companies? If we're again using this Charlie Munger incentive framework to predict their choices, like what is their business model? And people say, oh, okay, there I am using ChatGPT. What's their business model? How do they make money? Oh, I paid them $20 a month for the subscription. That must be how they're going to make money. But that's actually not what it is, because the $20 a month, if everybody paid it, that would not make up all the money in debt that they've taken on as a company. Right. It wouldn't work. Okay, so that's now. So what's the next one? What about advertising? Let's do the Google thing. Let's do mass advertising for all these AI models embedded in the results. We're going to have, this is going to be the new search. Search is one of the most profitable business models in the world. Maybe that will do it, but that doesn't also make back the amount of money these companies have taken on. The only thing that makes back the amount of money these companies have taken on is to replace all human economic labor, to take over the $50 trillion labor economy. Right. That is the price. It's artificial general intelligence, which means replacing human work, not augmenting human work. Right. It's just so critical for people to get that.
So the business model was never the $20 subscription. It was never the ads. The only thing that makes the math work is replacing every form of human work on Earth. That's a $50 trillion prize, and that's what they're actually building toward, not a tool to help you do your job better. He called what social media would do to an entire generation, and people thought he was being dramatic. The people who should be slowing this down are building bunkers. The people who should be regulating it are being managed with money. And we are somewhere in the first act of something that does not have a good ending unless enough people decide they want one. Subscribe.
Okay, what you think?
Shalom. Brother Leonard, when you play clips like this and you listen to people that, you know, actually worked at the AI companies, like the guy that was having the conversation, for me, I mean, it makes heed to listen to it, especially because you playing it. But even from his expertise of working in the field, you know, what he doesn't have a reason to I ain't gonna say he don't have a reason to lie, but if he worked in that field, why wouldn't I listen to what he's saying, especially with what I know is going on prophecy wise, you know, with the end times.
Exactly. Right. And the crazy part about it, like I said, they're putting all this information right now on face, but the average person wouldn't have know where to even begin to search out this type of information.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
So check this out. It's got to do with the let me see, the UN. You heard about that? The UN chief came out with about this El Nino.
No, sir.
Yeah, we was talking about how the ocean is redirecting itself and this El Nino and all of the heat waves that's going on. Check it out.
Okay, yeah. Okay, the El Nino. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
2 months ago, I warned that El Nino was arriving on our doorstep. Now it is inside the house and turning up the heat.
It's the Secretary General of the UN.
New forecasts released today by the World Meteorological Organization provide a stark picture of the period from August through October. El Nino is strengthening, adding fuel to a planet already on fire. Today's latest news indicates sea surface temperatures in key monitoring regions to average nearly 3 degrees Celsius above normal. At the same time, WMO's outlook shows that through October, nearly every land area on Earth is expected to be hotter than normal. Taken together, that risks shattering every seasonal record and driving even more severe effects worldwide. We are in uncharted territory. The verdict is clear. The climate crisis is in overdrive. Extreme heat has long been called the silent killer. Yet even that description may understate the crisis because its deaths are vastly undercounted around the world. Many fatalities linked to extreme heat are never recorded as such, even when heat plays a decisive role. What we do know is deeply alarming. Heat is claiming lives on a growing scale, day after day, in every region of the world. And while extreme heat is a global crisis, those who have done the least to fuel it are paying the highest price. Children, older persons, people with disability, outdoor workers, people living in informal settlements, and communities pushed to the margins. Extreme heat is widening inequalities, deepening hunger, weakening economies, and pushing development further out of reach. The planet is heating faster than our response. Extreme heat is a
So for the planet, like he's saying, the planet is heating up so fast, beyond anything they ever thought it would. So who failed to who would be at a disadvantage because of this?
Gentiles.
Right. The same people the Most High talked about when he told you about chapter 7, when he told David that he was going to take his people and plant them, and the children of wickedness was not going to deal with them no more. So obviously, the Israelites and the children of wickedness is two different sets of people. So these children of wickedness, they the ones can't stand to deal with this heat. You see that? They, like I said, they are an invasive species. So the thing to look at is, who you think bringing this heat?
Lord of hosts.
Right. It can't be them because they can't deal with the heat, right?
Right.
Okay.
Society-wide threat and demands a government-wide response. We hear much about record heat, drought, and wildfires, but not enough about the real change that is driving these events, the accelerating climate crisis powered by fossil fuels. It's time to stop treating each disaster as an isolated tragedy and recognize the systemic risk that is unfolding before our eyes. And make no mistake, the costs of fossil fuels are measured not only in climate disasters, but also in energy insecurity and geopolitical instability, as we see playing out today in the Middle East and beyond.
So what you think? You got any comments on that? I mean, it's so bad, the UN gotta talk about it.
Right. Yes.
Emergency meeting. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. But yes, sir. That and it makes sense because all them, I mean, they dying over there in Europe from this heat.
Oh yeah, right, yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
Y'all
do something about it. Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, here go my topic for discussion. I was talking earlier about these Israelis over there in mourning Israel. And the thing about this is, you got to keep in mind what 90-something% of the world is. They think these people are real Israelites. And remember what I said, how they playing this, that when the Israelites back in the day, when they got in the bind and they cried out to the Lord of hosts, he showed up. They simulating this. Check it out.
End the day.
It's big. Okay. Let me see. Oh yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Shalom and welcome back to Israel with Aline. Today Israel is in mourning. Why? Because of the fulfillment of...
You need to watch this. This Israel is mourning. Israel come, ALINE.
biblical prophecies. Yes. Because of prophecies that have already been fulfilled And in just a few moments, we will see the crowd starting to come down to Jerusalem to weep and mourn.
It's a day ago.
Some of the people who are arriving are taking off their shoes.
They're crying
Some
out.
are already arriving here barefoot, with
Sackcloth
torn
and
clothes,
ashes.
fasting. Come with me to understand why all of Israel is in mourning today. A deep biblical mourning. Come with me to understand what Tisha B'Av really is. So if you are ready, let's get started. We are entering through the Damascus gate, and it's now 9 o'clock at night, and we can see people starting to arrive. But the peak of mourning will actually be in the early hours of the morning, as we will see.
Sitting real smooth, man. God damn.
We just arrived at the Wailing Wall, and you can already feel how the atmosphere is changing.
They're crying out.
How the atmosphere is growing heavy and tense. And this is just the beginning. Guys, we're right at the start of everything that's about to happen, and you'll see that this whole area will be completely packed in no time. There won't even be room to move here at the Western Wall. And we'll see how the people of Israel's usual joy is turning into mourning. And we'll see people crying, lamenting. We'll see people literally tearing their clothes or with their clothes already torn. And we are about to witness all of this together. And then I want to show you more places where we can see the pain of this day. But before I show you everything that's happening, we need to understand why the people of Israel are in mourning.
Remember what happened with Haman? Yeah, to us as Israelites, like I said, what happened with during the time of Hezekiah. This is what they duplicate. So all hell gonna come behind this.
Because today is the worst and most tragic day in the entire Jewish calendar, in all of Jewish history. So let's go together and understand what's happening and why.
Crying out. I told you this was coming.
Today is Tisha B'Av, which means the 9th day of the month of Av, according to the Jewish calendar. In the calendar still used today in Israel, this is a fixed date. However, if we look and compare it with the Gregorian calendar, the date can change from year to year. And now I'm going to show you on the screen the dates for the following years for those who want to follow along. But what is it about this day that makes people come here? Literally sit on the ground and lament? This day is observed this way because on the 9th day of the month of Av, the great calamities, disasters, and curses that befell the people of Israel happened throughout their history.
Come on now.
Imagine a single day when all the most terrible things happened to the people of Israel. We can look back to biblical times. The first and second temples of Jerusalem were both destroyed on the same date. On the 9th day of the month of Av. And not only did calamities and curses from biblical times happen on Tisha B'Av, terrible things continued and still continue to happen on this date. Many expulsions of the people of Israel happened on the 9th day of the month of Aviv. In 1290, the Jews were expelled from England. Then in 1306 from France.
Come on.
And in 1492, the Alhambra decree was issued, which expelled the Jews from Spain. And after a few years as well, this decree is extended to Portugal.
So that's like I told you, what she bringing, she turning something that's wicked as hell to something good. That's Ezekiel 35. I told you, Most High got the curses following them.
And on the 9th of Av in 1914, it begins the First World War, which was a calamity, a tragedy not only for the people of Israel, but for a large part of the world's population, especially for those who were in Europe. But we have to understand the importance of the First World War because it paved the way. It is a direct factor, a cause of the Second World War. And we know very well what happened in the Second World War. Well, on the 9th of Av, in 1941, I mean, right in the middle of World War II, on this date, the plan called the Final Solution was approved, which is the plan for the complete extermination of the people of Israel.
Come on now.
It includes the extermination camps, the gas chambers, everything we know about the Holocaust. It started with this vote, with this plan, on the 9th of Av, 1941. And it ended with the extermination of 1/3 of all the Jews in the world, not just from Germany and Europe. 1/3 of all the Jews in the world were killed precisely through this plan. And everything we've talked about is just a small part of the tragedies that happened to the people of Israel precisely on this date. But now what I want to do together with you is to go into the women's section and understand in practical terms what is happening, how this mourning is also shown physically. Come with me. The mourning of this day is marked by 5 signs. The first and main one is a fast. A complete fast of 25 hours. 25 hours without eating or drinking anything.
Is that what Daniel did?
And people also abstain from many physical things like taking a bath, putting oil and lotion on their bodies, and wearing leather shoes. Because in ancient times, leather shoes were considered a luxury.
Yeah, you need to see this. Like, it's Israel mourning, Israel come, COMAILI. That's the name of the video. I'm not gonna play it because I'm not gonna play it.
Item, something very comfortable, and also people do not have marital relations.
No. Setting it up, man.
If you're a side sleeper, this almost feels illegal to share.
Put a little more.
We can also see people sitting on the floor or on small benches. This is a sign of mourning in Judaism. When a person loses a close family member or a loved one of the customs that is observed for a week is precisely to sit on the floor or in very low places. People are here in mourning for this day for the Temple of Jerusalem, crying in the same way as if someone from their own family had passed away.
He's gonna meet the road there.
Imagine learning a new language just by binge watching your favorite series. As someone working with tourists every day in Israel, and the Wailing Wall, which is right here in front of me, is an original surviving part of the temple complex. It was the outer wall, and of the 4 outer walls that existed, Justinus Rufus orders the Temple Mount and its surroundings to be plowed. This means that this wall...
So they all in prayer, man. All Israel, they're in prayer. They're the Wailing Wall, all of them in prayer. Come on. You got anything on that?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. I see it. I see the setup, man.
It, man. It ain't no time for shit else, bro. This is setup, right? I've been saying this.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And it looks crazy.
Oh yeah. It's just, but they, somebody don't know shit about none of this. It looks just like what we read in the Old Testament, right?
Okay. Right.
They see what I'm saying? That's how they playing it. They the real people. They playing that they in a bind, and now they call them their God. Okay, and so he gonna act. They're gonna do something to this place. Something horrible. Okay, like I said, it's got to be the water event. Made that and the Allah Tomas.
Right.
Then look how they setting that up. I was just showing you how they setting up this California shaking. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, let's keep going. You got anything else on that?
Shalom, no sir.
Yeah, so this is what I had played last night. Like I said, I put it on Facebook, so Messenger, so you can watch it. That way you get some kind of resemblance of what I'm talking about. This is big right here. Let's check it out.
Are y'all looking at realtor.com with that?
Okay. Let me get it. This is humongous. Ain't for everybody. Check it out.
We just never knew it.
Is this being done for America?
How much influence does Israel have on our country?
Israel's controlling our government.
Israel controls us.
The government of Israel controls the United States.
Israel is in control of our government.
Israel controls America.
There's no easy way to say this other than the United States is being controlled by Israel.
The man controlling our military, Benjamin Netanyahu.
It feels like we're just owned by Israel. We just never knew it.
Is this being done for America or for Israel?
Is that not scripture? Like I said, don't the Most High tell us that in the book of Daniel?
Right, yes, sir.
The whore, though, is a whore riding on the beast. Hey, we're looking right at it. Come on.
Israel is losing support here in the United States.
Why do you think AIPAC is buying out U.S. politicians, and what exactly are they buying? They're buying allegiance.
Never taken money from the Israel lobby, have you? Taken money from the Israel AIPAC.
You take AIPAC money, don't you? We're not going to vote for anybody who takes AIPAC money.
I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC.
That's interesting. It's interesting.
I will not vote for a candidate that takes AIPAC money.
I will not vote for any politician that takes any money from the Israel lobby.
We don't want candidates who are taking money from AIPAC. Yeah. Will you be taking money from AIPAC?
No, I will not be accepting money from AIPAC.
AIPAC, I'm coming to tear your kingdom down.
But at midterm. Okay.
Do you think AIPAC should register as a foreign lobby?
Start listening to the American people and not to AIPAC.
Who do you think we're occupied by? AIPAC.
Good morning, AIPAC. Thank you, AIPAC. Thank you, AIPAC. Thank you, AIPAC. God bless Israel.
The Zionist lobby that's the most influential in Washington, without question.
Their belief is that being for Israel first means that does not mean you're putting America second.
The Congress of the United States is Israeli occupied territory.
My father would tell me the most powerful lobby that there is in this country is the Jewish lobby. It's the Israeli lobby.
Why would the President of the United States pay attention to that lobby?
So my question now is, who locally as African Americans or so-called awakened Hebrew Israelites understand this.
We are strong. Strong in what sense? We are controlling many things.
When a great power like the United States has conflicting interests with another country, it almost always, except in the case of Israel, acts in terms of its own interests. America first. But when it comes to Israel, it's Israel first. The question is why? Like, what is that? I believe there's one simple answer: the Israel lobby.
Israel has an overwhelming lobby over the United States government. We have fought their wars in the Middle East.
I'd like to ask about your father's relationship with Israel. He's taken over $230 million from pro-Israel groups.
Why can I burn an American flag in my country, but I get a mark by my name if I burn Israel's?
What are you doing to prevent the use of our taxes to starve and kill people in Gaza?
How can somebody pledge allegiance to two countries at the same time?
Do you think it's a conflict of interest for Miriam Adelson, an Israeli donor, to give millions of dollars to his campaign and then Trump have pro-Israeli policies?
And you continue to support Israel. Why? Why do you do that?
The Israeli attack in 1967 on the USS Liberty, which left dozens of American servicemen.
There's no reason why we even have to be enemies with Iran. This is Israel's problem. We don't need to be involved in this. Sorry, we got our own issues here.
Our taxpayer dollars can build schools and hospitals in America, not bombs to destroy them in Gaza.
As a Jewish person, there is no Zionist gene that I have or that Jews have. And as an American,
over 60% of Jewish Americans believe Israel has committed war crimes. Jewish Americans.
I am horrified by the Israeli government's massacre of well over 65,000 Palestinians in Gaza.
How could it be done to you and your ancestors, and you turn around and you do it to someone else?
Zionism and Zionists hate Jews and Judaism.
Christians, Jews, and Muslims stand shoulder to shoulder against the Zionist empire and the genocide in Gaza.
How are you going to be America first when you're Israel instead? You can't have it both ways.
Have you watched this yet?
Right, yes, sir.
Okay.
Was starting to have serious questions about Israel, not just its role in the Gaza war, but its influence on American politicians.
All of a sudden, Charlie is he's no longer with us and all that. So wait a second, what do you mean? What does with us mean exactly, right? I'm an American, okay? Like I represent this country.
Why are we going to war with Iran?
I don't think we should be fighting wars on behalf of Israel.
Israel forced our hand and dragged us into this war. Again,
you go fight Iran. You go to Israel and fight Hamas. We are American people. It's not our problem.
No one wants to fight for Israel.
Israel is not an ally.
Israel is our top enemy. Enemy. Cut off the goddamn funding.
This is what a real political awakening looks like. America is finally waking up to the foreign political force that hijacked its government and undermined its sovereignty for decades. The Zionist lobby. All indicators, polls, charts, all point in the same direction. This awakening is real, it is growing, and there is no turning back. Since the genocide began, searches for terms like Zionism, AIPAC, Israeli lobby, and Zionist lobby have exploded across the United States. In the last 2 years alone, the Zionist lobby has been exposed as the driving force behind both Iran wars, the genocide, and the crackdown on free speech in the United States. It has been at the center of the implosion of MAGA, Kamala Harris's 2024 loss, the New York City mayoral race, Joe Kent's resignation, and one political firestorm after another. After decades of operating in the shadows, the Zionist lobby was caught red-handed, interfering in, manipulating, and shaping American politics on behalf of a foreign government. And instead of backing off, it went mask off, doubled down, and stepped into broad daylight. That was a fatal move, because millions of Americans finally got to see this foreign influence in action. And the moment that happens, it sets up a chain of natural reactions that may yet end in the complete Zionization of the US government. In this video, I want to zoom out and ask, where exactly are we in that Zionization process? Why does the Zionist lobby exist in the first place? And what is the one mistake we cannot afford to make if we ever want a real chance to take on this lobby? Welcome to Breezy Politics. For any nation and throughout history, few political questions are more fundamental than sovereignty. Who calls the shots? Because once a nation's sovereignty is compromised, every other political question is affected by it. And in the United States today, nothing compromises that sovereignty or the very idea of government of, by, and for the people, more than the Zionist lobby. That is why this issue provokes such intense reactions across the political spectrum, because it cuts straight to the mother of all political questions. Who truly calls the shots in the most powerful empire in human history? On December 10th, 2025, President Trump said this.
My father would tell me the most powerful lobby that there is in this country is the Jewish lobby. It's the Israeli lobby.
This statement is fascinating. The President of the United States is admitting out loud and on camera that he is aware that the strongest lobby in the country he leads is the lobby of a foreign country. And he knows that because in lobbying, power is measured by one metric, the ability to shape policy. The stronger the lobby is, the more capable it is of bending government policy towards its own interests. And if a lobby can turn a president once known as a conqueror-in-chief into Genocide Joe, or turn a president who campaigned on no more wars in the Middle East into the man who started the biggest one yet, that is one hell of a statement of its power. And before we get to why Fred Trump made sure to warn his son Donald about this specific lobby, and why Trump the president shows such deference to it, we must take one step back and ask a more basic question. Why does this foreign lobby exist in the United States in the first place? And to make the explanation more fun, let's break out from the stale political language for a minute and borrow the language of Game of Thrones, okay? Because the more we simplify the picture, the whole thing becomes a lot easier to understand. Think of the world as being divided to 200 houses. Each house has its own flag, its own language, its own beliefs, and above all, its own interests. And instead of House Stark and House Targaryen, you've got House America, House China, House Germany, etc. For the purposes of our story, the two houses that matter most are House America and House Israel. They were born in different times, sit on different continents, speak different languages, and are shaped by different values. So naturally, they would face different challenges, have different enemies, and pursue different interests. And you can see those different interests play out very clearly in what has been happening lately. In March 2026, a poll in House Israel found that 93% of Israelis supported the war with House Iran and see it as a top national priority. Why? Because Iran stands in the way of their national projects. Greater Israel. The idea that occupying Palestine was not the end goal, but only the first step in building a larger Zionist state that expands from the Nile to the Euphrates and dominates the region. The Iranians understood the expansionist nature of the Zionist project a long time ago. In 1983, Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khomeini said, and I quote, "Israel would never abandon its goal of ruling over the countries from the Nile to the Euphrates." Years later, his successor Ayatollah Khamenei, the one who just assassinated in this latest war against Iran, warned of, and I quote, "the economic, political, and geographical expansion of the Zionist regime in the Middle East." That shows how early Iranian leaders understood the expansionist ambitions behind the Zionist project. And for decades, they worked to block it by strengthening the houses that are the closest on Israel's borders. That's why if you looked at the map, you will find that Iran supports the Syrians on the northeast, the Lebanese in the north, and the Palestinians in the south. They campaign house Israel and to raise the cost of expansion and eventually to deter it from stealing more land by force. So from the point of view of Israelis who think of expanding their borders as a biblical right, hatred towards the Persians in house Iran make perfect sense, since Iran proved to be the toughest obstacle towards Greater Israel. That's why 93% of Jewish Israelis supported a war of aggression against Iran to get rid of this obstacle. But keep in mind, these are Israeli ambitions, Israeli priorities, and Israeli wars.
This powder does three things.
Okay, got anything so far?
Okay. Shalom.
Now,
Not yet, brother.
Okay.
Time on another continent in House America, Americans were asked about our national priorities, and a Harvard study from January 2026 came exactly with the answer you'd expect. Americans are concerned with inflation, cost of living, affordability, retirement, immigration, housing. Only 4% mentioned anything related to Israel and its wars. And even after the mainstream media started beating the war drums, the pattern barely changed. Poll after poll showed the same thing. The vast majority of Americans, somewhere between 70 to 80%, opposed going to war with Iran. Now, in a normal world where House America and House Israel each have a government that answers to its own people, the outcome would be obvious. The government of Israel would act on its own people's expansionist ambitions and go to war with Iran. The American government will answer to its people's concerns and tackle the economy, the inflation, the cost of living. That is what government of by and for the people looks like. That is what sovereignty looks like. But here is the twist. What if House Israel does not have enough resources to fulfill its people's expansionist ambitions and carry the Zionist project to the next stage? Zionists confronted this problem a long time ago, and their answer was simple. If we already built the Zionist state by stealing other people's land, why not use other people's resources to expand it? If the entire Zionist project is already built on this position, then tapping into the resources of the richest house in the system is not a contradiction. It's just the next logical move. So why not reach into the biggest economy in the world, infiltrate its political system, and use it to serve Zionist expansion? But to make that possible, they needed far more than ordinary influence. They needed a full spectrum apparatus, political, financial, and cultural. An entire ecosystem of power that operates across many fronts and in many forms for one overriding purpose: to harness American resources in service of the Zionist project. That apparatus is called the Zionist lobby. Its central function is to make the US government act as an extension of Israeli power, an external arm of the Zionist state. If Israel wanted Iraq, Libya, or Syria crushed, but lacked the resources to do it on its own, the lobby's job is to move Washington to do Israel's dirty work for it. And if 90% of Israelis want war with Iran, while 80% of Americans want nothing to do with this war, then the lobby's job is to override the priorities of the American people and make the US government answer instead to the 93% Israelis who wanted this war. This is the raison d'etre of the Zionist lobby. The bill classifies the slogan America First as hate speech. And the answer is this: because the idea of America first, American sovereignty, this basic principle that the US government should put American interests first in everything it does, this most self-evident principle in politics is at the same time a death sentence for the Zionist lobby. And it's a death sentence precisely because it's self-evident. Because putting your country first in America, France, or China is the natural logic of political life. People identify with that principle instinctively. It is the most basic role of sovereignty. A government only exists to serve the interests of its own people, not a foreign people. That's why I've always thought that if there is one phrase the Zionist lobby fears more than Free Palestine, it is America first. Because while Free Palestine challenges the legitimacy of the Zionist project, America first challenges the legitimacy of the project's very lifeline, the Zionist lobby. And the last thing the Zionist lobby wants is for anyone to question its legitimacy, because it has none. Any actor in American political life, or in any political system for that matter, gets its legitimacy from being an organic outgrowth of that society, rooted in the interests and the values and demands of the people. That is what makes it belong. That is what makes its presence natural and make political sense. But the Zionist lobby in the United States, just like the Zionist state in the Middle East, is not an organic outgrowth of its environment.
Same thing with JC.
Both are foreign implants. Neither arose naturally from the political soil in which it currently sits. Both were planted there. They don't belong in that environment. And once something is planted into an environment to which it does not naturally belong, it has only two options if it wants to survive. Crush anyone who questions its place there, or stay hidden, work in the shadows, operate in the dark, and act like you don't exist to avoid the question altogether. Listen to former AIPAC lobbyist Michael Rosenberg explain how the Zionist lobby operates.
I have a somewhat unique perspective on AIPAC, owing to the fact that I was employed there for 6 years. Back when I first started AIPAC, Steve Rosen, who was my boss and was later indicted for espionage against the United States. I know, like, he's still around though. You're allowed to get indicted for espionage. Depends who you're doing it for. He sent me a now famous memo. It's now famous because I gave it to the Washington Post. He wrote, he warned me not to ever talk. This is my second day there, never to talk about AIPAC activities outside the lobby. He wrote, a lobby is a night flower. It thrives in the dark and shrivels up in the sunlight.
Now ask yourself this. If the Zionist lobby was just another organic actor in American body politic, why would it go to such lengths to hide what it does? Why would it, in its own terms, thrive in the dark and shrivel in the sunlight? And there is only one answer to this. Because the lobby does not want Americans to see it for what it is. A foreign transplant operating in the United States on behalf of a foreign country. However, in the last 2 years, the lobby made a strategic mistake. The genocide in Gaza triggered a wave of shock and revulsion in the United States that shattered Israel's carefully cultivated image. And as decades of Zionist propaganda began to collapse, the lobby panicked. That panic forced it out of the shadows into broad daylight, where it had to operate openly and aggressively to stop the shift in American public opinion from becoming government policy. And so far, it has largely succeeded. Even as the country has shifted in a far more anti-Israel direction, the lobby has managed to stop our government from reflecting that shift in public opinion. But that success came at a hefty price. The lobby could no longer afford to stay in the shadows. It had to step into the open and openly push Israel-first policies in full view of the American public. The very situation he had spent decades trying to avoid, because that was always bound to provoke a reaction. And that is exactly what happened. The moment the lobby began pushing Israel-first policies in plain sight, another process began, a natural process. The American body politic began to sense that something was off, that an organ inside it was operating against American interests and against the natural logic of sovereignty. And just like in the human body, once the immune system detects signs of something foreign, it kicks in. It starts investigating. That is exactly what you see in these charts. American body politic began to dig into the lobby, its origins, its methods, and its record. And what fascinates me is how closely the reaction of the body politic mirrors the human body's immune system. Because the first thing an immune system does when it kicks in is distinguishing the self from the non-self. It identifies what is part of the body and serves it, and what is foreign to the body and works against it. And this is exactly what the American body politic has been doing for the last 2 years. Distinguishing the America first self from the Israel first non-self. Distinguishing Dave Smith from Ben Shapiro, Anna Kasparian from Laura Loomer, Thomas Massey from Lindsey Graham, Tucker Carlson from Mark Levin, and the few politicians who still answer to the American people, from those who answer to AIPAC. And out of that first phase, something America First has started to form. Not a coalition yet, not a political front, but a political current with its own language, its own standards, and its own litmus tests. Are you funded by the Zionist lobby or not? Will you push for AIPAC to register as a foreign agent, or will you not? Will you vote to keep sending our money to serve the Zionist project, or will you not? New lines are being drawn in the sand, and that ushers in the second phase of the Zionization process, the inflammation phase. See, once the human immune system identifies the non-self, recognition is only the beginning. It sounds alarms, it calls in reinforcement, it mobilizes cells to contain the foreign body, resist its spread, and limit the damage it can do. That is what produces inflammation. And that, I think, is exactly where we're heading now. The road to the 2026 midterms, and even more so the 2028 presidential elections, will be defined by that inflammatory phase. It's going to be vicious fights, generational, intra-party, inter-party, and above all, existential for the Zionist project. Because remember, the lobby is the lifeline of the Zionist project. So you better expect it to play every card at its disposal to suppress our political immune system. And it already has a playbook for this exact moment because it ran the same play in the Middle East for decades. When the Zionist state was planted in the region in 1948, the Middle Eastern political immune system reacted the way any political environment reacts to a foreign implant. It resisted. Naturally, there were wars, there were confrontations, there was constant pushback. And no matter who won or lost on the battlefield, one thing never changed. The region never organically accepted the legitimacy of the Zionist project. It kept reacting against it because it never stopped seeing it for what it is, a foreign implant. So how did the Zionist lobby manage that problem? And I use the word managed, not solved, deliberately, and I'm going to explain why in a second. They managed it by turning American power into a weapon against the Middle East's political immune system. The lobby used American economic, diplomatic, and military force to impose a brutal choice on the region. Play ball, accept Israel's legitimacy, normalize relations, and get rewarded with American money, weapons, and protection, like Egypt, Jordan, and the UAE, or keep resisting and risk the fate of Iraq, Syria, Libya, Lebanon, and Iran. Isolation, destabilization, and ultimately destruction.
Okay, what do you think about that?
Shalom, Berlin, the Jewish lobby and the Zionists, showing that they're the ruling class of the Judaism or whatever, but they're the ones that are specifically behind it though, and that are
right, it's straight up scripture, right?
Right, straight up. And so Berlin, throw my question when he says de-Zionize or what have you.
Right.
Is that part of like hate and horror?
When you say it again?
Cause he's saying the guy talk on the video like de-Zionize Israel or something like that.
Oh yeah, de-Zionize only means that you disconnect yourself from the program they got going.
Right.
They headed, Zionism is headed toward ruling the world from Israel for 1,000 years. That's what Zionism is, right? Which is Pax Judaica. Right. And so when you de-Zionize, you don't participate in that.
Right. Okay.
When your eyes open to who they are and what they're trying to do. Right. And that's what I'm saying. That's what this the last thing that could have happened to them at this midterm. Everybody woke up.
Right.
So when you gotta understand what happened when you corner a wounded bear or a wounded animal, what happened to it? You go all the way to the left, and that's where they at.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
And everybody, they started talking about nuclear weapons If anybody uses nuclear weapons, it's gonna be them, because this Iran thing is causing serious problems for what they're trying to do. They're getting seriously exposed.
Right.
Between this and what happened with Gaza.
Sure.
Okay, you got anything else on that?
No, shalom, no sir.
Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna pick a scripture right here, and we'll read that scripture and break it down. You got a scripture?
Ooh, I had it right here in Enoch. One second. Okay, right. Yes, sir. Shalom, brother Leonard. So in is it Enoch 61?
Okay.
Yes, sir. And it says, brother Leonard, I need to just verses 20 through 22, sir. And it says, and he will summon all the hosts of the heavens and all the holy ones above and the host of God, the cherubim, the seraphim, and the aphanim, and he will summon all the angels of power and all the angels of principalities and the elect one and the other powers on the earth and over the water. On that day they shall raise one voice and bless and glorify and exalt in the spirit of faith and in the spirit of wisdom and in the spirit of patience and in the spirit of mercy and in the spirit of judgment and of peace and in the spirit of goodness. And shalom. That was Enoch 61, 20 through 22. And yes, sir. And brother Leonard, in verse 22, when I counted out like the spirits, I had got 7 of them. When the spirit of faith and in the spirit of wisdom and in the spirit of patience, yes, sir, and the spirit of mercy. So not necessarily that those titles are right, but it was 7 entities, 7 spirits right there. So I wanted to ask about that.
So the same as Isaiah chapter 11. Read that verse 1 and 2. Same thing. Very few people know that, but yeah.
Right. Isaiah 11. Yes, sir, and it says, and there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots, and the spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord.
So it's the same 7 spirits you just talked about, right?
Right. Sure.
And then we talked about people want to act as if you don't know what you're talking about, but it says in the very beginning, it says, and the spirit of God, verse 2, the spirit of God moved upon the waters. So what's the spirit?
Angel.
Okay. Ain't that something?
Sure.
So there it is. I mean, that's Bible 101. Ain't that something?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
So we good on that?
Right, I'm good on that.
Okay, we'll open it up for questions and comments and dialogue before we close out. I got a couple of videos I want to play, but yeah, you got any questions, any comments, or any dialogue?
Brother Leonard, I got one question, sir. So you taught about and you got classes on the Council of Nicaea, right?
Right.
I wanted to ask because in one of the Jewish books, dang, and I don't got it in front of me. It's over there in that pile. But in one of the Jewish books that you had me get, one of the encyclopedias, it had in there like that there were councils after Nicaea, like the Council Laodicea or something like that, and it was like 2 more. And I wanted to ask, were those councils, did they have like kind of the same purpose? Because the video I was watching was saying that after the council of Nicaea, like there was like still Enoch or something, but that next council like took Enoch out of there.
Right. Yeah. It's way more. It's about it's about 50, 60 councils.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, a bunch of councils that all of them had to do with every time something came up that the people saw, they brought a council up, and then they that's why it says now the Bible looks. That's why it's so pristine now, because they went through all them changes and hoodwinked to get it where it's at.
Right.
And even today, every other month, every other year, they doing a revision. When people, it's all about when we start waking up, when we start recognizing things in there, then they come back and they revive it and reword it and take out certain things that's pertaining to that lead you to Hebrew.
Right.
Yeah, but they got I don't know how many councils.
Okay, that's regular.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And all of them, they all started after they did it. That's why you have to understand that's so important. After they did the Septuagint is when after they started. That's when they started really hoodwinking it. After they got it into their language, where they can have a way of understanding. That was the whole purpose of putting it in the Greek.
Right.
It ain't nothing, like I was saying, it's an abomination. Ain't nothing good about them creating the Septuagint.
Right. Or the Maserati text, right?
Right. It would have been good if they changed it, created the Septuagint and left it alone. But they created the hoodwinking.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, Brother Leonard, that actually did have a question about that. For the translations, if anybody would translate the Hebrew scriptures, like that's a wicked thing, right? Like you said, unless they were just if they just translated it and left it alone, like left everything in there how it's supposed to be, just put it in their language, then that's different. But you taking out stuff and adding prophets, taking away years of our forefathers' lives and things like that. It's wickedness.
Oh yeah. And they want to, the Christian, want to make you think that was a good thing because we wouldn't know nothing about the Bible today. No, it was we do know about it because of that, but that wasn't the purpose of them. What they did it for. That part was from the genius of the Most High. They translated it because they had a different agenda. We see it.
Come on.
Ain't that something?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, let me play this right here, man.
Sure.
I see it. Yeah. I'm always finding these kind of videos. Like I say, when you get to a certain point, you know what I'm saying? These videos be screaming at you. Because they think that we still in the dark. Yeah, I was talking about how they setting up everything is right now finna happen. They're setting this thing up for the temple, right?
Right.
Say, did you know they had a Sanhedrin already in Israel?
What is that's the actual building?
No, Sanhedrin. The same Sanhedrin. We didn't have one back when our forefathers was in the land. They didn't have no Sanhedrin.
Right. I read that in the Josephus.
Right.
They had, okay.
So they had a Sanhedrin when Jesus was there. That's Greek. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So right now they got a Sanhedrin. Here's what they're saying.
Coming out of Israel, posted today, the Sanhedrin rules it will formally petition heaven to reveal Messiah and rebuild
Remember
the
what we
temple.
just watched?
Posted 3 days ago.
They gonna petition the Sanhedrin, gonna petition the heaven, and look what we just watched. They setting it all up, because everybody think they the real people.
The Messiah emerges from the destruction. NBC News also recently posted a video of Christians and Jewish groups trying to build a temple at the Al-Aqsa compound. We'll take a look at all this recent news that's coming out in regards to this subject. We'll start this off with what's going on in Iran. This was just posted. Trump says the U.S. will be hitting Iran very hard.
President Trump is out with a new threat today, this time with a lot of profanity. Here's what he told Fox News this morning as part of his latest threat against Iran.
Any Christian who is supporting that effort is missing a major step in that process. The temple doesn't get built and then Jesus comes. The temple's built, the Great Tribulation happens. The Antichrist will stand in that temple and declare to be God. Quite a lot of things happen in between the temple being built and Jesus coming back.
But over here, as we can see, is the mountain of God. The mountain of God known as Zion.
Yehuda Glick is one of the leaders of the temple movement, pressing for more Jewish rights at Al-Aqsa. I joined a group he was leading of mostly Christian tourists up to the mosque. To get there, we climb a ramp that goes over the Western Wall, the holiest site for Jews. They're still not allowed to openly pray inside the mosque complex, which
God is still active in the world. He can still do miracles. He still does. But we have to be alert for false signs and false wonders that Jesus told us are going to be coming.
Sydney Galbraith is a tourist from Canada. She describes herself as a Christian Zionist and a true believer.
And what do you think should happen to the Muslim sites that are here? The Dome of the Rock, the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
You know, I think the Lord is going to do something so unusual that our minds can't conceive. If he were to tell us, we wouldn't understand. But we know that this is his land, and we're going to watch him push them out. He's going to totally drive them out, because this is the place where he has, this is my land.
Drive out the Muslims.
Yeah.
Jewish groups increasingly wave Israeli flags inside Al-Aqsa as well. The office of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he maintains a policy of supporting the status quo, prohibiting Jewish prayer at the site. Members of his government, including Justice Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir.
An overview of what this article says. A modern group calling itself the Renewed, or Nisent Sanhedrin, has issued a formal religious ruling asking God to advance several events connected with the redemption of Israel. The document asks for the hostile and corrupting forces to be removed from the Jewish people and the land of Israel. The Messiah or the Mashiach to be revealed, and for every obstacle preventing the rebuilding of the Holy Temple to be removed, and for the prophet.
Okay.
And only maybe for
Ain't that something?
Right.
All this going on, man. It's a mirage. All this is nobody ain't people out. It ain't gonna when the drama hit over in America, it ain't gonna be no accident. They set it up. It's already set up. It's setting it up. Okay. You got anything else before we go?
And Brother Leonard, so it's so crazy because that's the I remember when I didn't used to understand everything like back when you started the class, and I remember you saying this right there that when this happened, when they about to knock that mosque down, that's when you know it's hammer time. And so sitting here right now in 26 and actually seeing them, you know, this about to happen is, you know, it's crazy to me.
Oh, yeah. And I told you about Spain, right? How all that went down during the time of Herod.
Right, sir.
Check this out. Check this out. Okay, hold up.
In the country right now. If you don't think this is all by design, then Spain has officially fallen. Tens of thousands of illegal.
You see what's going on in Spain and Portugal, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, check it out.
Immigrants, all military-aged men, are flooding the country right now. If you don't think this is all by design, then you haven't heard the Kalergi plan. Check this out.
Check it out.
That the Jews want to exterminate the European race. Richard Coudenhove Kalergi,
who is the father of the European Union and who was funded by the Jewish bankers Rothschild and Warburg.
Come on.
Now, this man wrote a book called Praktischer Idealismus in 1925, in which he stated that the Jews are a master race and that the Jews can only assume the throne of rule over the world by weakening the European race, and that the means to weakening the European race would be to dissolve all the European nations, destroy all their cultural heritage and their national traditions, and replace that with the European Union, and then to invite in Africans, Middle Easterners, and Asians to dilute the blood of Europeans through miscegenation to the point where they became a degenerate mixed race. And then at that point, these people would no longer have any sense of nationhood. And the ancient Jewish messianic prophecies of world rule out of Jerusalem, with Jews maintaining their nationhood and their national status, it would fulfill the Jewish messianic prophecies that the Jews could then rule the world. And this was completely in line with what Nikolai had written in 1917 and has manifested itself recently with the invasion of immigrants from Africa, from the Middle East, and from Asia into Europe, America, and Australia. And they are deliberately setting about to genocide the white race and destroy all sense of nationhood and national heritage and national.
Okay, what you think? Ain't that so?
That's from the Lord of Hosts, ain't it?
Oh yeah, it is. Is that crazy or what? going according to plan. They ain't left no stone unturned. Right. You know what I'm saying? Everything going by plan, going according to the plan. We sitting there fumbling with it. Okay. So
right.
good.
I'm sorry, brother. I want to say one more comment, please. And looking at all this stuff that be happening, like, you know, even us not paying $15 gas, and you know, we still got lights, our internet working, because you know you teaching right now and all that. I feel like we in Goshen right now. You know, kind of watching the judgment, because we could be in the midst of, you know, all this stuff that's going on. We could have, you know, we all got data centers being built close to us, but we could have them next door, you know, and stuff like that. So the Lord of Hosts watching over us.
Right. And he says that that's another thing about you hear that being quoted, but no, a lot of people really don't have the in-depth understanding of that. Those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. Like I was saying, we know about the data centers, but we got people that's right there, the data center right there, they have no clue what all that's about.
Right.
So it's a remnant that have eyes to see and ears to hear in these last days. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes, sir.
Like you say, it's crazy, but you got people right now today, African Americans don't never heard of Hebrew Israelites. You know what I'm saying? Don't know nothing about it. It could care less. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So that's how that go. Like he said, he said it's gonna be a remnant. That's what we're looking at. Okay. So with that being said, we say shalom, and another shalom. We got our Sabbath classes tomorrow. We got our morning Sabbath class. It starts at 10 a.m. and it's over around 12, around noon. And then we close Shabbat out in the evening at 6 p.m. Normally lasts about an hour. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it, because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh. because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up, and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is, and the Godhead.